Like I said, I will never kill my father for the mafia. I don't care who you are. I don't care. Then kill me first because I'm not doing that. Hey guys, welcome to the Goodfellow Podcast. I am your host, Joe Barone. If you like us, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And don't forget about our Patreon channel, which has got some different kind of content on there. And we're actually going to do a lot more stuff on that channel because of the viewers who are actually paying for it. So some pretty funny stuff and some serious stuff too, believe it or not. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And today is going to be the day where I want to. I guess I want to thank everybody for. It's going to be like a thankful day, an appreciation day of all the viewers and all the people I've got reconnected with in after so many years. But first, let me explain. The dark glasses, I wanted to wear the lighter ones, but I forgot them at home. And excuse the shirt, I just came from the gym. And this one's for Lenny Montleone. Lenny, what's up, buddy? And we're going to be talking about a few of my old friends. I want to thank my, of course, Mafia Roundtable with my friend Dominic Sicali for always having me on his show and supporting me in what I do. I support everything he does because he's above board with everything, straightforward and honest, and a good friend. Very, 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 very dear friend. I also want to thank all the other shows I was on, Vlad TV, The Connect, the Jordan Harbinger show, the Bobby Luisi show. And I'm just happy that everybody thought that what I had to say was appropriate and definitely worth me having them on the show. We are definitely, am I right? We're going to definitely try to have some extra people starting to come on the show. I'm not going to mention their names now, but some people have been reaching out to us, and we're going to have them on too. Some really good people. But first off, let me just take a sip of this. First off, I want to thank my friend Charlie Buono for reaching out and sending me his book. Like I said, here's his book. I don't know if you guys can see it that good. From Crime to Christ, the Charlie Buono story. Ever since Charlie and me put to rest the little differences we had because of what I did in my past and everything and stuff like that, it's opened the floodgates for me to get in touch with a lot of people I haven't talked to in a lot of years. I didn't realize how much I missed my old friends. So I want to just give a very short little reading right here from Charlie's book. Very short, so I won't. But this is a good book, and believe me, he did write something in the back, but that's for me and me alone. Anyway, he says, after I graduated high school in 1979, I started working in the construction field for 1 year or so. Then I started working for my brother-in-law, Pat, for over 30 years. I cleaned boilers, and there was a lot of heavy lifting involved. I owe my life to my brother-in-law, Pat. He's very good to me. And, of course, I know his brother-in-law, Pat, really good as well. He also was very known. My cousin George knew him, everybody. He said, I joined the Navy, and I was getting into a lot of trouble, mostly bar fights. But me and my family thought that the Navy would be good for me. In 1981, that's how far back this was, went to basic training in Chicago, Great Lakes. I graduated basic training, then I met my ship, the USS Garcia. I lasted 2 years in the Navy. I ended up doing an armed robbery. The Boston police gave me an 18-month suspended sentence, and the United States Navy took over and threw me out of the service, then gave me an other than honorable discharge. When Charlie was away, we used to write him and stuff like that too. All of us guys, Lenny, me, Patsy, we all signed the letter and everything like that. This is the part that kind of got me a little bit. I came home and went back to work for my brother-in-law, Pat. I worked hard and partied hard. Hung out with a few good friends in my hood, Lenny Montleone, Joe Barone, Louis Galello, and Patsy Morano. We are all friends to this day except Joe Barone. He turned FBI informant and broke our hearts. I know that I get emotional, and I apologize for that, but I'm not apologizing for how I feel and what it does to me. So,
How much does it mean to you now, knowing that you're starting to repair some of these relationships and kind of time is kind of starting to heal some of those wounds between you and the old guys back in the hood?
it feels really good because the way we grew up, as most people did, listen, we don't go against our friends like that. If we have fights amongst ourselves and stuff like that, we never take it out on, we never get anybody else involved. That's just between us, and usually we wind up patching it up anyways. Plenty of times, even when I had a disagreement with, like, say, Lenny, who I will be talking about too today on the show, if I saw his mother and father, which they were very good people, honest people, I saw them unloading groceries and they had to walk from the car inside to the house, I would help them pull over. You don't do things like that, but to make amends with people after so long, especially since I really never did anything to my friends except work for the FBI, who actually I would have never done that. And like I said, I never make excuses. I don't try to play games. But I never hurt my friends as opposed to saying anything that they did or anything. Matter of fact, there was when I came home from my first bid, there was a guy, Johnny Church, and we hung out here and there. We weren't like the best of friends or anything, but we weren't enemies. And he had saw me at this place called the Pit Stop in Rochelle. He asked me to come outside. I did. I went in his van with him. I think he had a van or a truck or something. And he asked me because he wanted to know if I said anything about him. That was in the 90s on my first bid when nobody knew nothing about me. And I asked Johnny, and this is the truth. Johnny never talked to me about anything that he was doing or not doing. I never asked him how he made money. I never did anything with him. So why would I say anything about him anyway? Even though he wasn't my best friend, I still knew him. I wasn't going to do anything against him. And then he understood. I says, when you had to go to your trial or your court or dates or whatever, you have the right in this country to face your accusers. So he understood that, and I was glad that he understood that. Now, I'm down here, and who do you think I go? I go out last night with my girl, costume thing, because it's going to be 2 years that we're together this month. We went to the place where we met, and I happened to see a couple of good friends of mine that, from New Rochelle. And they probably won't care if I mention their name, just like the other people I've spoke to. They probably wouldn't care if I mention their names, but they didn't give me permission to really mention their names, and I'm not going to. For whatever reason, it's okay. But if I talk to my friends from New Rochelle, and wow, I just can't believe just hearing their voices alone brought back a floodgate of memories for me. We did a lot of things together with my friends. Look, I fought with Charlie Bonanno, not against him, side by side. We laughed together. We cried together. We did all of this stuff together. And all of the stuff that happened before, it feels like it never even happened. All the whatever happened between us, it doesn't even feel like it happened. That's how close we were. That you could just put that in the back burner. And that's why I want to reach out to my friend Lenny Montleone. I hear a few things about you, Lenny, out there. And now, if you can remember this, I'm not going to say everything that we talked about. You called me up. I think it was before I took my second pitch in 2009. And it was actually before 2009. It was 2008. And you called me. We had a nice talk. I was actually with this girl Lisa in the car, and we were going down to, we was in Manhattan over by Mulberry Street. I don't know if we were doing a feasting or whatever it was, but anyway, and we talked. Now, Lenny, you and I go back a long way, and reach out to the show. Send me your number. I'd like to talk to you about a couple of things because you're a good person. You really have a good heart, and I know. We all get a little sidetracked, and I know sometimes you need a push in the right direction. If you don't like me no more, whatever, that's up to you. I did speak to you once a long time ago, many, many, many years ago. And as you know, I never did nothing to you, and I'm not going to say the couple of things that happened between you and I. And so if anybody should be a little bit leery, it should be me. But I want to talk to you, Lenny. Okay? So if you want to reach out to the show or not, it's up to you. If you don't, that's fine too. No pressure. But you're a good person. And then I also want to talk about my friend Raymond Barreras and his wife Rita, which are another good people. Raymond and I go back, well, since I'm a kid. Now, Raymond, I think, is about a year older than me, maybe. Raymond and Johnny Valenti and me used to hang out at either one of their houses because my mother used to cut their mother's hairs, okay? Like I told you guys before, my mother was a hairstylist, beautician, whatever you want to call it. And so they used to beat me up, Johnny Valenti and Raymond. They used to throw blankets on me, pound me a little bit. So we go each other way, way back. I was a kid. But Raymond, he did a lot for me. As a matter of fact, when I took my second pinch, I think he went with a cop in the town. I think he went with Vinny Zazzarino, and they went to my house. They thought I was dead, and they didn't hear from me for a few days. Nobody knew I got arrested. And he went to my house. They saw a light on in the basement. They thought I was dead in there because of the life. See, well, a lot of people don't realize it. Out of all my friends that I hung around with, I'm really the only guy who was in the mafia. Now, Raymond and I used to talk a lot. Raymond always told me about the wise guys. We never really liked wise guys. And not that we hated them, but we were friends. All of us were friends, like I try to tell you. There was... If anything happened to one of us, it really happened to all of us. And whether we tried to help each other, fix things with each other, fight by each other's side, but Raymond said, those guys are not your real friends. And I was talking to my friends just this Thursday, and that's what brought me up to this thing, because he said, Joe, you hung around with some real losers, like real people. And because the gangsters are not your friends, and they aren't. And that's why I always talk about my friend Dominic, because Dominic... And I always say how rare this is because we had that together, Dominic and I. And that's, it's almost unheard of, okay? Because they're always out for themselves. And Dominic always tried to help me in the street, make money. And of course, he was my boss, but, you know, he didn't act like that. But I wanted to tell Raymond also, too, if you remember the time when this girl came into the Lollipop, and Ralphie Coppola was, I think, at this place called Fonzie's, and they said he was getting jumped in there. So all of us were running. So we're running down the street, and I lost my breath because I was running so fast and so hard to get to the fight. I would have never been able to go. So I'm breathing. I'm bent over like this going. So Raymond grabbed me by the arm. He said, pace yourself, because he knew what we were going to do when we got there. And I only really had one beef with Raymond. That was something that when I went away, and I understood, you know, and we made amends again. But when I got arrested on when I took my second pinch, and it was for murder conspiracy and everything. And Raymond didn't like that because he said, we don't do those type of things here, Joe. We don't act like that. So he came up to me. I was at Paulie Saracelli's house. May he rest in peace too, my friend Paulie. And he took me outside, Raymond, and he didn't want me to be at the party. And I think it hurt him too to tell me that. I thought Raymond was actually going to fight me then. I thought he was going to hit me or something. And to be honest with you, look, Raymond is a tough guy. Always was. And I think even if he would have hit me, I mean, I would have fought him back, but it would have broke my heart to fight him. You know what I mean? If I would have had the chance, maybe he would have knocked me out with the one punch. I don't know. But I understand he's married to a beautiful girl, Rita. I knew her father was, oh my God. I don't know if he's still alive. May he rest in peace if he isn't, but he was so funny. Her brother was funny. I mean, I'm glad he married her. I'm glad they're happy together. I hope they are. They did write me when I was away or asked about me. I forget exactly what it was. But Raymond, I know you can't be my friend, you know, because of what I did. But I just want to let you know I never got the chance to say thank you for all the times you did the right thing by me. And there was another thing. I think he used to be a runner. He used to jog. But I think he got a hip operation. And I'm sorry also about your sister who passed away too, Renee. I didn't realize it. I just found out. But anyway, he was trying to cross the street, so he's running like this, and I seen him jogging. So all the cars, nobody wanted to let him go, and I got there with the car and I blocked all the traffic for him so he could so he could run across the street. He saw me and he gave me the thumbs up. I said, "I got you, Ray." I could tell you about so many fights and stuff that we were all in. As a matter of fact, we were in. He used to work at the Century Mall Theater, and so Lenny and I went there to the movie theater. I forget if we were watching Dawn of the Dead, maybe, or something was. I forget what it was. But his sister and his mother went there, and his sister had her daughter Jamie was there, and some guys got something stupid. They said something stupid to us, so I didn't know what was happening. I'm sitting there with Lenny. Ray comes in, he sits next to me, and he's quiet. And we were in the middle of halfway to move, and he goes, "Look," he says, "I got a problem." He says, "That's okay, Ray. Well, we'll be here. Don't worry about it." So, anyways, after the movie and everything, what we ever had to do, he was getting off. We walked him. We followed the guys. We took care of what we had to take care of. I'm not going to tell you every little detail of it. It's been many years ago. I don't know if anybody get in any trouble, but there was 3 guys there, and there was 3 or 4 of them, but I think it was 3 of them for sure. And then we duked them up, and it made the paper, but for other circumstances, you know what I mean? So I guess basically what I wanted to say to Raymond and Rita, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Raymond for all the years I've known him, and that we fought together, we laughed together, we ate together. When he used to take me to his sister's house, and we had some good food. He used to laugh watching me eat because I was enjoying myself so much. And I appreciate everything, no matter what, how you feel now, and I understand. So don't worry about that. I do not hold anything bad against you. I still love you. I know you 100 years, so it don't matter to me. Same thing with Johnny Valenti. Grew up together with him. He's actually the one who helped me get together with the Third Street guys. Johnny Valenti was a good person. I used to ride his wife. May she rest in peace, Donna. Donna was a gem. Comes from a good family, although I don't really care about her brother too much, but Rudy. But anyway, her father really liked me, and she used to sit on my handlebars on the bicycle when I used to ride. I'd bring him because he couldn't really be around. The father really didn't like for whatever reason or whatever. But then I had to wait for him to ride her back with the bicycle while they used to take a ride and everything. I guess get more acquainted. He finally married her, anyways. And Donna was really, really, really good people. I never forget those times, And even Johnny Valenti, I know he can't bother with me. Johnny, I was in Johnny Valenti's house because I think somebody had asked me if I knew Chuck Zito, and I actually had a long talk with Chuck in Johnny's basement. And Johnny walked away, let us talk, and I had a really, really good conversation with Chuck. I know Chuck can't talk to me anymore either because of what I did, and I get it. Of course, I don't. I had really. Chuck Zito's a really good guy. Everybody knows how tough he is. I mean, that goes without saying. But he really was a good guy, and he had a problem with another friend of mine that I knew, and I really wanted to help them both out because the other guy he was having a problem with was a really good guy too, and another tough guy too in his own right. Married to a beautiful girl, my friend Diane. And so, it's a shame when sometimes those things happen. You know what I mean? But I always want to say, anybody that wants to say hello to me, not say hello to me, it's okay. I get it. But I'm not holding anything bad against anybody out there. Because, listen, we all got our life to live. But I want to go away with peace of mind. I'm still the same old Joe. Except the fact that, I did something that, I'm not really that proud of either. Matter of fact, I just came from the gym. So, but last night when I met my friends and I seen them from their show, they grabbed the back of my arm. They said, and I said, ain't nothing changed with me, But I want to also on the Vlad TV when I did my podcast on there, and Vlad was a very gracious host too. I really liked him. He was a good guy, and there was a comment made. I looked at some of the comments. A lot of them were negative. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't hurt me, but I'm gonna read something real quick. Here's a guy, and this is something like most people who tell you if they say, "Hey, I'm a good guy. I would never do this or whatever," and it's almost like you meet a girl and she goes, "Oh no, I'm a really good girl," and it turns out to be that's always the complete opposite. So I don't like to talk about myself, like I always tell everybody here, I'm not the toughest guy that walked around and stuff like that. But I was able to do what I had to do, and most of my friends who know me knew that I backed them up. But this guy here, it's James Gill. He put on the. It's on my phone, and I read it, and I'd be honest with you, I read it the other night, and I couldn't even go to sleep. I was so happy that this guy here. I haven't talked to this guy. We were in prison together, as you'll see in the text on the comment he made. And then I think I met him once when he came home. I went home before him because I was in longer than him. And then we met, and I haven't seen him since 1996 or spoke to him. Not that I never thought about him. There was no problems between us. Everything was good. So, anyways, I'm talking on the podcast, and he says here, was in my land, Michigan federal prison with Joe. He jumped in a fight I had when I was jumped, when no one else did. He definitely can handle himself. Glad you're doing good, Joe. God bless you, Jim from Connecticut. Well, Jim, I tell you the truth, I thank you so much for that comment. I do remember our workouts when we worked out. We used to work out, me, him, and this guy, Mike. Mike was the guy's alias name, but his real name was Steven. But it was me, Jim, and Mike, and we used to work out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the joint. I had a job in there as a weekend orderly. It was like a bullshit job. It was almost like I almost felt like I was in the Wise Guys. They gave me a no-show job because weekend orderly, nobody does any inspections. It's the weekdays. So what I did was
How much did they pay you for that?
I think you got like 10 cents an hour or whatever. Not even, it was
Oh,
like,
geez.
yeah,
What year was it?
it was in the 90s. So I got home in January 20th, 1995.
Okay, I got you.
But I got like $150 or something like that when I finally got out. Whatever was left in your commissary, they give you money anyway or something like that, and then whatever else money I accumulated. So, so we used to go to the gym, and I didn't even have to sweep up. It was like nothing. But we had some really good workouts in that gym. I showed him a little bit how to hit the 70-pound dumbbell, and he said I wouldn't want to get hit by a punch like that, which I was fortunate to have a decent punch. And but I actually totally forgot about that fight in prison because there was so many things going on there. I can't remember everything I did. And I remember when he did, because somebody said your friend's getting into a thing, and I ran. We were in a dorm at this one time, and I had to go to the other side and make sure and jump in when the fight was happening. And that's the kind of guy I am. My friends can all attest to that, and that's it. But I was just so happy, and I want to thank Jim so much for. Like, it's different when you hear something from somebody else instead of somebody like me telling you. And now here's a guy. And that's like with Dominic. Dominic Cicali from Mafia Roundtables, I've talked about. There's things that I was with Dominic that I could, like, whatever he said is true about that because I was not only with him, but even some of the times that I wasn't with him, I know because I can back him up because I was involved with him. So anything that he tells you, like he had told a story about that he went to fight the Albanian guy that time when he by himself. He goes there and he talked to the boss of them guys, and then the guy was a jerk, and they said let him have it, and he did. I remember that. I wasn't there, but I remember him when he told me how everything went down. Now here's a guy, Jimmy, since 1996, and now he's telling, and he makes a comment about everything that went down with him and I. At least in that one circumstance, you know what I mean? And that made me feel like $1 million that somebody could remember something like that. So I thank you, Jim, for saying that to me. My next thing is, you have any questions about that or anything before I go on?
You wanted to say that there was Dominic was proof of something.
Well, that's what I meant. Dominic, see, I can prove what Dominic did. to so many things. I wasn't with him 24/7.
Right.
But Dominic can prove what I did. Now here's a guy, Jimmy, who can prove what I did too, and I didn't even mention it because I didn't remember it.
Yeah, you and Dominic are living proof of each other's, experiences. You know, the things that he's been saying throughout the years on his channel and
That's right.
are verified by you, and the things that you're saying are verified by him.
Well, one thing that also I do like about that channel too is because a lot of things that he was saying about Vinny, because everybody thought like he was going against Vinny and everything so much. Look, Vinny and Dominic were two peas in a pod. They were so close, and that's it. And even when he mentioned on our live broadcast that he would talk to him again, he would visit Vinny if he had to. He really means that. Okay, that's not just talk. Okay, so what I also say is he did it was proven, I think, on the James Proctor show or something like that. It was finally, there's a lot of proof about the tapes that came out about what Dominic was saying that Vinny shouldn't have did all along, and now he had
Right.
proof of that. So that really makes you, it justifies that, maybe not so much what he did, you know what I mean, but it shows that what he's saying is true. And the same thing like what he could say about me. He was with me in the street. He'll know what I can do and don't do. You know what I mean? So it's nice when it's sort of a collaboration, but it's not made up. It's all true. That's the best part. And now here is a guy, Jim, like he just said it on the comment, and I was like, wow. And because I didn't even remember it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
You got to admit, though, your life does sound like a movie script. I mean, it's so insane that some of the things, you're just everything that you've talked about so far on the channel, it's just mind-blowing stuff.
you know, it is hard to believe in a lot, and that's why a lot of times that's why I don't really like to answer the negative comments, because half of these people don't even know. Now there's probably some guys who probably did some time or did this or whatever, but you guys can't tell. I'm going to ask the viewers a question later on too, or I'll even ask her right now. You can't really give me a great answer. You can try to tell me an answer, but what would you guys do? Because you didn't walk in my shoes. And you might have done something different. I'm not going to say no. But what would you do if you found out that somebody killed your father? Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody made a comment. You're in that life. What do you expect? And to some degree, I agree with that. That is true. But I didn't want that life, okay? Is what I talked about Raymond and a few of my other friends. I didn't want that life because it's not a great life. But I don't care if my father was involved in that life anyway or not. If you killed my father, if that part was really true, you're going to have to deal with me because that's just the way it is. That's my father. Now, if you guys, I don't know if you remember, but Michael Francis had told a story about these two brothers that were with him. They got an order to kill their father, and they did.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know if I told that here yet or not.
That's terrible.
I sent it to my girlfriend, and Mike Francis says how he was dropping his friend off, and the guy says, "Hang out here, Mike." He says, "Let me hang out here." So Mike thought, like, okay, and he thought maybe he was going to go in the house and bring him out something or whatever, or he had something for him or whatever. So Mike, of course, waited for him, and then he opened the door a little bit like this. The lights were off, nobody was home, and he shut the door and he got back and he told Mike ever since that thing happened. Mike explains it better because he was there. He knows it, But
Right.
for long story short, he says, look, ever since that thing happened, I can't go into the house like that by myself. You see, you do something like that in your life. Look, the Mafia, you're supposed to have that as your first family, and I get it. Like they say that. I get it. But you know something?
For them to even be able to ask you to do that, though, why wouldn't they ask somebody else to do it? Because it was easy. Because the guy would trust his sons.
Yeah,
it
well,
was easy.
Well, that's
like how they send your best friend to kill you in that life.
exactly.
Yeah.
But also, that's also a test too to see if you really are going to put that life first. Let me tell you something.
So crazy.
I'm not. When I think about all this stuff is very overwhelming for him. So, guys, please excuse me. I get choked up with everything. But if somebody asked me in that life to kill my father, if I was so involved with it like this here thing too, I would have shot them for asking me. Okay, now look, we've mentioned this once or twice before. I talked about it on Dominic's show on the Mafia Roundtable, and we've talked about it other times. Dominic was true to that life, and he would have had to take me out if he knew. And I definitely understand that. And I would have accepted it because Dominic was my friend. He became my friend. Okay? And that's why I didn't put Dominic in such harm's way like that, setting him up or giving every little detail of his life to everybody. But with that said, I think for sure he would have felt bad about it. Because Dominic, and nobody really understands this, Dominic could never show you his true colors. Only time I ever really seen him show the heart that he has to this day. See, you guys know him today. But I knew him both ways, okay? And don't make no mistake. Dominic is doing his thing out there today. He's straight, and he's doing the right thing. He's got a new mafia out there, you know what I'm saying? No wrongs. But don't get it twisted. Don't get on Dominic's bad side, and don't push him, okay? Because it's like me, and of course, like I said, I'm hoping to get to meet Gene Barillo. I would like to meet him myself. Too. I like the way he does things. I like the way he was. Don't push these guys, okay? Because they just because they did certain things that they cooperated like I did, don't think that they're gonna lay down to anybody, okay? And neither will I. I hope I never get into another fight in my life. But if I have to, I will defend myself. And I just don't want to have trouble because every time you do this, you get in trouble. But I won't hesitate if I really feel I have to. Well, with that said, like I said, I will never kill my father for the mafia. I don't care who you are. I don't care. Then kill me first because I'm not doing that. And let me tell you something. My father, if I would have been in that life and my father was in there and they asked him to kill me, my father would never have killed me either. Just like there was a story that, Mikey Francese's father knew that he cooperated, but yet what kind of a guy could he be if that, hey, I don't want to hear that. Okay, that's still, first of all, Sonny Francis is a legend. A legend. And if that's his son, I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he said, I don't care that my son did this or whatever, I can live with that. You know what I'm saying? It's his son.
Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, all that other talk is all talk. But anyways, I also wanted to talk about my dear friend Pete Savinello, Pazzi. Look, just so you know, I do not hate Pete. I'm not trying to talk about him and hurt him in any way. I'm just telling you some facts that he did to me, what he did to me. There were some things that he allegedly did with my truck, my Escalade, because he was driving around telling everybody I was a rat, driving in my Escalade that I let him drive. So here he is telling everybody I'm a rat in my Escalade. Just right there ought to wake everybody up, okay? Anyways, Pete, he robbed me while I was away. I was engaged before I went away, and he told me I'll take care of her. She can come here and talk to me. He got mad because I left everything with him. I left my bank with him. I left all the money with him. And I left jewelry. He robbed me from the jewelry. He robbed money from me. Not a lot of money, but enough. Okay? This is the kind of guy here who, like I said, he wanted to set friends up that we had mutual friends. And they can testify to that. And like I said, I'm not trying to talk. I'm just saying this is the facts. Now, supposedly he's hanging around with certain people and he wants to pretend to be somebody he's not. Pete is not somebody that you can really trust to that degree. I found out the hard way. Now, this is a fact. Here's a guy who I told I was working with the federal government since day one. Okay, he knew that. He actually tried to help his girlfriend, Lisa Pirro. My FBI handler went and talked to her. Something happened with some kind of money, something like that. Well, supposedly my FBI handler, of course, Lisa was pretty. He tried the guy tried to hit on her or whatever the case. I could take care of you. He told me because I wasn't there. Pete told me what she told him, and so he said, I could take care of you. Don't worry. We'll do this and do that, and try to win like he was doing something good. The FBI guy. So Pete knew all along, and Lisa Pirro could testify to that if that's the case. All I'm saying is like this. Pete, please stop trying to act like a gangster because you never were. And that's the reason why I told you. I thought you was my true friend. When my mother died, I called him up. He came to pick me up where I should have went to the hospital with my father, but he came to the hospital with me. Okay, so I've been through a lot with Pete. I protected Pete throughout his whole time, the years that I know him. Okay? He used my name to threaten his stepmother, Jean, that I would do something to her in order for him to buy the house for $50,000 from her. He bought a 2-family tree with a basement apartment house for $50,000.
What did he say you were gonna do?
He said, I don't know exactly, but so he told me all he told me was that I told her that I would don't let me have to, he kind of like threatened to say, listen, you know who I got behind me is Joe. That wasn't nice. That wasn't nice. You don't do that because I didn't know why she was scared of me. I used to say hello to her. She'd be like, oh, and she ran away from me. I never knew that. And I used to tell him this. I was telling him this for a while. And then he goes, the reason why she's scared of you, Joe. And then he told me finally. I said, you got to be kidding me here. Now, here's another thing. I think I said this once before. He was going out with Anne-Marie. Her mother goes out with this guy, Ralph. Ralphie's a good guy. Ralphie was really a good guy. Well, Pete robbed this girl of $5,000. She tells her mother. The mother tells Ralphie. And, of course, they want to send some guys to take care of him. But Anne-Marie says, listen, he's good friends with Joe Barone. And, of course, they says his father's somebody. So, of course, Ralphie knows my father. He went and talked to Ralphie. Ralphie went to talk to my father. So my father says to Ralph, leave the kid alone or whatever. And he got Ralphie to back down off of the whole thing. And Pete didn't get beat up because he was going to get the shit beat out of him. Okay? So my father helped him there. Then Anne-Marie marries this guy. I think his name is Mario. Now, Anne-Marie had a brother, Rob. Rob was a really good guy. I liked Rob. Well, they drive him by Hudson Park, and me and Pete was sitting in the car for whatever reason. I don't know what we were doing. They drive by. They see us in the car. They pull over. Mario gets out of the car. He wants to have a fight with Pete. I get out of the car. Of course, Rob squashes everything there and everything. And I said, Pete, knock him the fuck out if you want to. But he don't. They don't have a fight, whatever. Once again, I protected him again from another fight. Protected him again from another fight when he wanted to have the fight with Angelo Cantanello. All the guys were there lined up. Charlie Bowden, Ray Render, my friend's kid brother was there, which I wouldn't have did anything with him because he's my friend's brother. Angelo was there. And then Angelo says, okay, you got your friend Joe Barone, now you feel better. I said, well, Angelo, your fight is with Pete. Don't turn around and make it with me because I won't hesitate. I don't care what I got to do. And so I protected him from that fight, and I looked like a jerk because, of course, he didn't fight Angelo. Now, supposedly he was fooling around with Angelo's wife behind his back with Cindy. I don't know how true it is. Pete didn't even tell me about it till like after because the girl was in love with Pete. Listen, I had a lot of good times with Pete. Pete introduced me to a lot of girls. We went out to a lot of clubs. We had a lot of fun. And we had a lot of bad times too, I guess, in our own way. But I'm not saying anything that's not true here. Okay? And I don't know what his problem is or why he thinks, listen, he still, as far as I'm concerned, the things he allegedly did with my truck, he should have paid me. He never paid me. Okay, here's a guy who said, I don't got to do this. I don't got to do that. My wife makes all kinds of money. Or blah, 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 blah. I had a place upstate, so he had to buy a place upstate. Now, here's a guy, Pete, supposedly good-looking kid, whatever some people say. Black hair, blue eyes. Of course, he'll tell you his eyes are green, but they're only blue. I mean, he's got a beautiful wife. And he still got to act like a jerk half the times. Even she used to tell me he makes a scene where we go sometimes. He went to Frank Salerno's place, the car wash. My friend and I talked about Frank Salerno. He went in there like a gangbuster. And my friend Frank had to straighten him out. And then, of course, I didn't even know he did that until after Frank told me. And I said, Pete, what are you doing? You know, come on. You make yourself look like a fool in there. Nah, buddy, I could do that. I told him the deal I was getting at the dry cleaners because I used to have a lot of nice clothes. I used to wear a lot of nice clothes, and I was at the dry cleaners all the time. I told him, look, I get a break. But I was there more than him. So he wanted to go get the same break that I got. So Reno asked me, he says, Joe, he says, you know, your friend comes over here, tells me he wants the same price that I give you. He says, Joe, this guy, he comes once in a blue moon. You're here 2-3 days a week. You understand? That's not nice. He tells somebody something I told him. This is the kind of guy he is. So, look, I'm not mad at Pete. I don't hate him. Of course, a few times he would grab me, he would want to wrestle me and everything because he's a big kid. And so he grabbed me one time like this. He held me in a bear hug and he said, yeah, what are you going to do now, Joe? He had my arms and everything. I told him, Pete, we're fooling around now. We're friends. But I'll bite the tip of your nose off if I have to. My face is that close to you. What do you think? I'm not going to bite you or something or whatever? This is a fight here now. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. And that's what I said. Like, I never wanted to have a fight with none of my friends. Because, you know, sometimes you can't recuperate from it. Sometimes you can. And, you know, anyways, I wanted to mention that. Because I understand he's watching my podcast lately and everything. And I hope you like it. Subscribe if you want. Shoot me an email or whatever you want to do. No problem. Maybe you'll apologize to me for what you did. And maybe we could put it to bed. I don't know. But, you know, look. All I know is after talking to Charlie, I've been bumping into friends, talking to a lot of friends that I haven't talked to in years. And I tell you the truth, I feel very, very good that my friends, we talked about a lot of old stories. Oh, God. So many funny stories we all had, you know. And, you know, I'm glad that, you know, this happened. Like, I'm glad that Charlie reached out to me. That was one of the best things that ever happened to me because it changed my life again. It made me feel, you know, like I said, whoever likes me, likes me. Whoever hates me, hates me. That's fine. It's okay. I'm not going to hold a grudge. I'm going to die one day, and I'm not going to go to bed and die hating somebody. I'm just not going to do it. Like I said, I'm not no tough guy. I never was. I was always like the clown. I always played the guitar. I sang. I joked around. All my friends, we always had a lot of fun. And that's the way I'm going to try to remember everything. And that's it. Now, with that, I know we have a lot of comments about a lot of different people.
We sure do.
Yeah, so I know we want to catch up on.
Pulled up right here whenever you're ready.
Oh, good. Yeah, and there was one with Dominic too, and I don't know, pull that one. Dominic's going to answer that one, but I also want to know one of the guys I knew, the same people Dominic knew too from back then. You know,
You want
which
to
is
start with that
cool.
one? That one was on one of his videos, or
It was on the live show that we did.
Which one was it?
It was about Stephen the Demon. They called him.
Oh, it was in the live. Okay.
Yeah, but that's okay. I could answer without even pulling that up. You save the other ones. Okay. But the guy they're talking about is Stephen DeLuca. And Stephen DeLuca was a good-looking guy. And Dominic will tell you that himself, too. But what happened between him and Dominic, and because they asked you said you were going to tell a story, I'm leaving that for Dominic because Dominic can tell the story better than I can. But I knew Stephen, too. And Stephen, he did a few years in prison. And he came out. He was ripped up, good-looking guy. And all the women, listen, this guy used to walk it to Hawaii Sea. He was good friends with Paulie and the guy Lenny from El Jam. But Stephen would walk it to Hawaii Sea. This guy was so good looking. Dominic will tell you, because Dominic, he's not like that. He'll tell you straight out. He walked into Hawaii Sea, which is a place in the Bronx. A lot of people, a lot of couples, a lot of things would go to this place before we all went out to the clubs. And so this guy would walk into Hawaii Sea, and even the girls that were with their boyfriends would turn around and look at him like this, with their mouth open, like in watch him walking. He was about maybe, I think he was pretty tall. I know I'm like 6 foot. He's probably he might have been even a little taller than me. I don't know, but he was ripped up, nice build on him. Had like this dirtyish blonde hair like the Sandy, but he had these hazily green eyes. But he was good looking. Forget about it. And all the girls were like, you know, then he used to drive this Seville with the rag top, the old Seville's back in the 80s. You know, you're too young to remember that, but I do. And he had the true spokes on there. I actually washed his car, detailed his car with him and everything back in the days. But let Dominic answer that question. And if I don't know if Dominic will get that, but we'll send it to him so he can answer that question.
Rosanna Verdugo 4920. Just found your podcast. I saw you on Vlad TV.
Oh, okay. That's all she said?
Yeah, that's all she said.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope you enjoy it, whatever it may be. Thanks, Roseanne.
It's a short
I thought she was more than a question.
I'm just going to read all the comments.
Yeah, the comments.
Questions and comments.
Okay.
Sideshow Hog says, do you know the Don Juan, the snitch of Brunswick, and the reporter guy, John Petro?
No. Maybe if you could elaborate on that a little bit more, I might. But, you know, like I said before, if I don't know somebody, I don't know them.
Betty Galvin 2565 says, hi, Joe. I met you many years ago. How are you?
Okay, Benny.
Betty Galvin.
Betty Galvin? Hey, Betty. I'm sorry about that. I don't remember exactly where I met you, but I'm doing okay. If you want to elaborate, whatever, that would be good. So I can remember, but nice. I'm glad you're watching the podcast. I hope you enjoy it. And by all means, send more comments or questions. I'm always here. And that's why I said this show is about appreciation and for all the viewers out there. Thank you so much, Betty.
Joe Barone told, Nova Chat GPT says, Joe Barone told Vlad that he told the FBI about the prosecutor. So Dom told Joe, and Joe told the FBI, and everyone got arrested?
No, Dominic never told me about any of that. There was a little mix-up there. Dominic was actually away when I found about the prosecutor. Dominic was in prison. Matter of fact, you couldn't even talk to Dominic. Dominic was on some sort of, I forget what it was. He could tell you better than I can. He was like some kind of terrorist kind of watch list because of this supposedly thing. It was actually Joe Messina who had this whole thing because he needed a way to get out of doing life or actually getting the death penalty. He was pretty smart, Joe Messina. He pretended like he was this or that, but he always had like the trump card in the back, like. But anyways, when I found out about it, I alerted my FBI handler and Vinny Bizzuti. I don't know how true it was either, but once I got word of it, but I didn't get word of it from Dominic by no means. Then they arrested. Now, supposedly, whoever was in on it, whatever, that's another story. Hope that answers that question.
YouTuber1 says, I don't know if that other guy is for real, but if he ever does arrange a phone call with Dom and Vinny Basciano, that video would get like 1 million views. Forget about it.
Oh, without a doubt.
The only thing is, for that to happen, in some way, Vinny has to forgive Dom. But anything is possible. That's what he said.
You know, that is true. Anything is possible. I don't know if Vinny would ever forgive Dominic because of who Vinny is, but I think Vinny would like to. I think Vinny would talk to Dominic, and Dominic would always listen. When Dominic says he'll go visit him or talk to him or whatever, that's like I said before, he would do it. You got to remember, Dominic. Guys don't realize how close Dominic and Vinny really were. You know, Dominic. Like I said, he was his own businessman out there, money making guy on his own money making machine. So, but when he hooked up and got together and with Vinny sort of polished him in a lot of ways, because Vinny was a class act, believe it, and he made Dominic a class act, okay. And Dominic, he was a totally different guy, but still ruthless, but sharp. I mean, real sharp, and that's the sign of somebody who takes you under their wing. You it's almost like when he talked about Ernie, how he raised them. You know, that's how you do it. And that's how you make the people the way they are. Just like we talked about, a lot of guys don't know who Barney from the Genovese family is, okay? Barney was groomed well when he was young too, and that's the reason why Barney is the man he is today. And he's got his own smarts too. So it's how you're groomed. And that goes a long, long way. It's almost like this. You go do martial arts. If your sensei or your Sifu or whatever system you're doing grooms you the right way, that's how you are. You're an extension of that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We have to do a podcast about martial arts one day. We have to talk about that's very. You have a lot of knowledge on martial arts. That's
What we
interesting
should
stuff.
do is we do that on our Patreon channel because I'll put up we'll do some and I'll show some moves
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, that'd be cool.
I was actually, believe it or not, I was in the martial arts class with Lenny. Lenny and I we used to do martial arts together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Brooklyn 6570 says your shows are very entertaining. Keep up the good work showing the hypocrisy of both sides.
Ah,
FBI and the mafia.
thank you. What was that handle name again?
Brooklyn 6570.
Thank you, Brooklyn. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's kind of funny. That's why I like that one part in The Godfather where you got the senator talking and shaking down a wise guy, a boss of all like Michael Corleone. And then it just goes to show you, look, in this life, everybody can be betrayed. We all know that, whether you got a girlfriend, whether you got a business. But it's like one thing different between the wise guys and the FBI is the FBI are pretending to be somebody that they're not. A wise guy's not pretending that, even though they go, there's no such thing as the mafia and all that kind of thing. Well, they say that, but let's face it, when the guy walks through the door who he is, okay? So it's that kind of thing. But at least they're not going around saying, hey, I'm the good guy. And matter of fact, there's a part, we can't show any movie clips anymore, but there was a part in the movie The Equalizer 3. Denzel Washington gets shot by that kid in the back. And to be honest with you, I wish Denzel Washington would have shot that kid because that was wrong. That kid should have never shot Denzel Washington. But anyway, that's another story. But the doctor that Denzel Washington gets brought to, the guy says, I hope I'm saving a good man, or I don't know if I'm saving a good man or a bad man. So he asks Denzel Washington, are you a good man? And the answer Denzel Washington says was, I don't know. And that is the truth. That's why he knew he was saving a good man, because a bad guy is always going to say, no, I'm a good guy. Like I told you before, if you meet a girl and she says, oh, I'm a good girl. Nobody has to tell anybody if they're good or bad. You should just be able to find out. Nobody should know if I could fight or not. You just feel comfortable. You feel safe. Nobody has to say I'm this and that. When the time comes, don't let the chips fall where they may.
Right.
So, but anyway, thank you, Brooklyn. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying the show.
Jimmy Boudreau 4207 says, how much are you giving up that recipe of sausage and peppers?
I have a recipe of sausage and peppers.
How much you giving up the sausage and peppers recipe for?
I don't know. I don't know. Hey, listen, we all do what we got to do, but thanks, Jim, for that. You know what I mean? Thanks. That's funny, that question. I liked it.
Rolling Stone says, did you ever hang out with any Irish gangsters?
I don't know if they were real gangsters, but yeah, I've hung around with a few guys. There was the guy Jimmy that Dominic and I both knew. He was Irish, big dude. Yeah, there was.
You know any Irish made men that were Irish?
Well, I don't
Your
know.
generation?
I don't know how an Irishman gets to be made unless they got their own clique, like the Westies and stuff. I don't think they were ever made, but they were just a group.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
was very rare for a non-Italian to become a made member.
It was at one time. Supposedly, I understand there's like guys that were half something now and half Italian today.
Yeah.
Things get watered down. But I'm sure there was a few of them there. I also knew a lot of some of the Russian guys too, and them Russian guys were pretty badass too. So Igor, I knew when I was away.
Igor.
Igor, yeah. There's some pretty good guys. Absolutely.
See if I can get one more question here.
There's some old ones too that we talked about too. We gotta get to them too.
Oh yeah, there was one that I missed. Someone was reaching out to you. They said they knew you. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Hi, Lisa Santoro. This is the one that I missed. Sorry about that, Lisa. Says, hey Joe, I was trying to get in touch with you from when I moved to Florida. Hope all is well. We had a lot of good times and many laughs.
Lisa Santora, yes. Lisa Santora, her sister Karen, I think her brother Pat, her mom. Oh my God, we grew up together. That's a lot of memories. We grew up together since we're like 5 years old, something like that. So I know them for long. What a nice family, good people. Karen married a really nice guy, Rob. and he was another tough guy. This guy was. Matter of fact, he came to me and Lenny, and this guy Rob was big too, big strong guy. Oh, and what a cook! Holy, I could never believed it. You see a guy in the gym, you know he can handle himself and everything, and he was a bouncer for a while too. But I never knew he could cook the way he could cook. I was like, holy shit! He had the hot dog truck in front of the high school. The onions, the chili. Oh my God! He made the supersad, the sausages. I mean, absolutely out of this world. Never knew he could do that. But he came to me and Lenny once, and he says, he met Karen, and Karen was there. So he says, hey Joe, can I ask you a question? She says, sure. So he comes over, and Karen says, he talked to me about Karen. I said, bro, you're not gonna find somebody as good as her. Marry her. Believe me, Karen was a sweetheart, and I'm sure that I hope they were all well. And Lisa and I got along good too. Lisa, actually, she's the one who actually came to me, and she said she wanted to buy a car for her son. And she asked me for help if I knew Kenny from the Acura dealership, and I said, yeah, just tell him you know me. And then he says, I know two Joe Barones, and one was a golfer, one was a singer. She said the singer, and then, of course, he took another $700 off the car for her, which I was very happy about. And then I had to wind up buying a bottle of champagne for him for helping me out, so it cost me like $300 then. But, Lisa was a good friend, and I would have done anything for them. They're very nice people. Lisa, that was very nice of you to remember me and reach out to me. Thanks so much. I hope you're doing well out there in Florida, if you're still there.
That's all the questions we got.
Okay. Well, anyway, guys, we're going to end this segment. I hope you guys understand. And wait, you know something? I want to say something. One on before I go. This is not my. I have a lot of. I hear some things on the TV show. Matter of fact, Dominic mentioned this is actually from the Blacklist, and there was something that Raymond Reddington said. I'm actually still watching it again, the reruns, but. I loved Raymond Reddington and what's the name? James Spader that played him. I don't think anybody could have did a better job than that. But anyway, he said this in there, and it says, forgiveness doesn't mean accepting what you've done. It means understanding that the line dividing good and evil cuts through the heart of all of us. And boy, if that isn't the true saying right there, I tell you the truth, there's some really good sayings out there, and I'm going to bring that on to a lot of stuff, maybe even in the... as you can see, I got a book. I don't know if anybody can see this one. Oh, you're over here. I can see I got a book. But anyway, it's almost like the book I had when I used to loan a lot of money out there in the street. All the sayings that the people, all the excuses. I can't find that book, but if I did, I would love.
Great
if I could find it. Yeah, but I got a lot of little sayings I'm going to bring. And once again, guys, don't forget my friend Charlie Buono from Crime to Christ. Excellent read. Really short, sweet. I liked it. Talks about a lot of good friends. His family had a great family, wonderful family. And once again, I want to say thank you to everybody out there. And hopefully you guys want to subscribe. Like I said, if you like us, don't forget about the Patreon channel. We're going to do some really good stuff on there too. We're still building up the channel. You're still getting our legs going here. But we're going to do a lot of stuff like that. Any comments you want to come in, please send them. I'll answer as many as I can because this is where I'm going to connect to everybody. And we might, we talked about it, we might have a different phone number where you guys can call into. We'll see about that too.
We're trying to work out the kinks.
Yeah, trying to work out the kinks with that. And we're going to keep doing some live shows as well too. So stay tuned. A lot more to come. And there's some other good things I got going on, and it's going to involve a lot of people. Believe me. I don't want to spill the beans, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse. You guys have a great weekend, and a week, because it'll just air on Monday. So you guys have a great week, and thanks again for everything. Peace.